lab anyways. So not only is it a great experience for your CV, but it also builds connections with other students and faculty on campus, and ultimately helps you earn research experience, which is good for applying to grad school and things like that. And also, for me, determining what the heck you want to do with the rest of your life, which is really cool. So that's some of the reasons why joining labs is an incredible opportunity, and I highly recommend taking advantage of it as much as possible. So, without further ado, we will have our representative from the CAIRNS Lab, which is represented by Natalia Flores.
Hi everybody, my name is Natalia Flores. I'm a psych major, and I'm here to represent the CAIRNS Lab, who is led by Professor Dr. Graham, who is also not head, but he is a psychology professor on campus, more specifically has to do with community psychology. So to begin, the CAIRNS Lab is a community psychology research lab that applies intervention research to new and innovative community action. CAIRNS stands for Community Action, Innovation, and Research for New Society. The lab is in collaboration with the poli-sci professor, Stephanie Burkhalter. She comes in every once in a while, but she also has a big part to do with the research and the participation of it as well. Right now for this semester, our weekly meetings are every Wednesday. Our first meeting is actually next week on Wednesday from 5 to 6 p.m. So our current project that we're working on is deliberative democracy. Deliberative democracy is a citizens' assembly that gathers to collectively discuss and propose solutions to an issue. Our citizens' assembly was done in Petaluma, and the residents gathered to discuss what they would like to happen to their local fairgrounds. So right now people are discussing, the residents of Petaluma are discussing whether or not what they want to do with that space instead of just sourcing it out to either a large corporation. Some people are thinking about it having more revenue versus the residents have a say on whether or not they want to make it either an evacuation center, continue using it for a fairgrounds, make it so that it holds livestock, because Petaluma is really big in the farming industry as well, or whether or not to take away their speedway and the racetrack, because a lot of residents have said that it causes a lot of noise and it's like split half and half. So it's just the project's based on letting the citizens decide what they want to do and how they choose to occupy that space. The citizens' assemblies are a different way of doing politics and finding a real-life solution that was influenced and created by the people. We're now in an era and a stage where politics is getting very messy, and it's in the state of a lot of us don't feel like our voices are being heard, or we're just wondering what's the point of voting if we feel like what we're saying doesn't really matter. So the purpose of having a citizens' assemblies is so that people within a certain community or that can gather around a certain issue have a say in what they want done. And what they found during the project so far is that a lot of people prefer to participate in the citizens' assembly just because of that inclusivity, and it allows a space for people to just be able to have a discussion in a respectful manner as well. So the really good part about joining Research Lab is I am a paid RA assistant, and I got that position through connections through the research department, which was pretty cool within itself. And I also got to put in an abstract for a research poster that we will be presenting at a Psychology Association conference this semester that's coming up. So yeah, if you have any questions, I have flyers, and I'll be here. So thank you.
All right, so next up, we're going to have a representative from the Academic Motivation and Resilience Lab, Maddie Jo Viola.
graduate student in the academic research program. I'm currently being advised under Dr. Brandylyn Villarreal for developmental psychology. So I am the lab manager for the Motivation Lab, which is being ran under Dr. Villarreal. At this time, we are not actively recruiting, but we will be in the coming semesters, so keep that in mind. Essentially, what we look for in this lab is we explore different topics revolving around underrepresented college students' levels of autonomy, different aspects of self-regulation, and so really just looking at those motivational and resiliency factors that college students face. But yeah, that's kind of a quick little spiel about that lab. I'm also working on my own thesis that has to do with autonomy as well. And it's just a really great opportunity to collaborate with other students and work on different projects. And as Natalia mentioned, presenting at different conferences. This last spring we were up in Portland sharing a few different projects revolving around college student autonomy, learning during COVID at the Western Psychological Association. So we do a lot of different projects in this lab, and it's just really great to work with other students and just build some experience doing research. When I first came to Cal Poly Humboldt, I didn't really know what I wanted to do, but I decided to join a couple research labs, and it's just been a really great opportunity and has led me to become a researcher in the graduate program. So yeah, but thank you. It's really nice to see some familiar faces and some new faces too.
All right, thank you, Maggie Jo, and thank you, Natalia. So next up, we are going to have a representative from the Cognition Lab. Please welcome Alicia Martin.
I'm here for the Cognition Lab, which is the principal investigator is Dr. Sanchez, and we look at things related to cognition and cognitive psychology, like speech, perception, memory, attention, learning, things of that nature. Currently, our projects are some of our students, our master's students working under Dr. Sanchez, have their thesis projects that they're working on, and so for example, as a lab member, you would be assisting with some of these projects like mine, which is looking at faculty perceptions of accommodations. And there's another project that we're working on currently, which will look at student perspectives of people with disabilities in the workplace, marriage, things of that sort. And so as a lab member in the Cognition Lab, you will be helping with some of these projects. You can also get some presentation experience, and so you can present research articles, which if you're interested in any form of academic research is just a really great practice. So I will have a sign-up sheet, and we'll put it over there, so if you'd like to ask more questions or sign up for the lab, it'll be over there. And we are currently recruiting for new lab members, and so we've got some space. Our lab meeting is currently Wednesdays at 12. So that's looking like the meeting time that we're going to have for the semester, and we look forward to having you in the Cog Lab.
Okay, thank you, Alicia, so much. All right, next up, we are going to have a representative from the Social Influence and Identity Lab, the SI Lab, Zena Evans.
QR code. It's to our new website that if any of you know Cozy, she just developed it, and it's pretty snazzy and new and great, so yes. So hi, I am the lab manager for the Social Identity Lab here on campus. And so in our lab, we mainly focus on social identity and self-categorization processes, which underlie social and political attitudes and behavior. So we examine a wide range of intra and inter-group processes and relations, including minority influence, extremism, trends toward populism, and support for different kinds of leadership. Our research is led by Amber Gaffney. She is our PI. We also have a co-PI, Steph Suter. If any of you have taken any of her classes, she's really great. And we have a pretty big lab. I think we have about 40 members now. We have a lot of graduate members in our lab, so oftentimes during our meetings we'll have practice thesis proposals, which are really cool. And everyone there can gain something from it. So the undergrads can see what a thesis proposal will look like when hopefully they go to graduate school. And the graduate student presenting will be able to get feedback for their presentation too. Our meetings also involve fun things like games and activities. We do a lot of bonding because we're so focused on group research. We know that that's important to create, our cohesive group. So we also do some article presentations throughout the semester that are based in social psychology, obviously. So we have some current studies happening right now. We actually have an in-person study that's looking at basic uncertainty. So we're having people come into the lab, which is I know. But we're having people come into the lab, and that's really cool because you get to work in person, and it's not just online. And then we're also doing some research for CLERBS, and that is the Civilian Law Enforcement Review Board. So that's starting up as well. We also have a lot of conferences that we're going to this semester. So if you're interested in getting your hands into research and doing practicing things like data analysis or running participants, things like that, we're a really great resource for that. I don't know if we're actively recruiting. We are not actively recruiting, but maybe in future semesters. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Senna. All right, so next up we're going to have the other social influence lab here, which is Dr. Gold's social influence lab, represented here by Grace.
Hi everybody, my name is Grace. I'm a blended student in the academic research program. My emphasis is in social psych, and Dr. Amber Gaffney is my advisor. In Dr. Gold's lab, we focus on social influence, and we focus specifically, our research is on particular groups and what they're thinking and how they're feeling and how it's relating to the social environment around them. Currently, we only have one project that we're focusing on inside lab, and that's on COVID. So it's looking at college students, either in college or at the college age level, how the reactions have been to COVID, specifically related to anxieties towards death and social isolation, political orientation, risk-taking behaviors, and academic motivation. So essentially looking at how COVID has affected lots of different aspects of a student's life. We are actively recruiting. Currently, our lab meetings are on Mondays from 10 to 11 a.m. And if you have any more questions, feel free to ask me either here or contact me via email. And we also have a few other positions, not directly inside the lab, but related that are paid research positions. So if that's something that interests you, you can come talk to me as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Grace. So next up, we're going to have a representative from the Behavioral Endocrinology Research Lab, or aka BERL, represented by Nathan Boone.
Hey everyone, my name name's Nathan Boone, and I'm the new manager of the Behavioral Endocrinology Research Lab, or BERL. And we're broadly interested in the relationship between hormones and behavior, but we've also done a lot of non-hormone work, so we're more like a general social neuroscience lab. And our projects have been in a lot of different topics. They've included stuff like how hormonal correlates of parental behavior, emotional perception of adult faces, own race bias and face perception, and how hormonal contraceptives might influence social behavior. We have a couple cool gadgets like a thermal camera, a facial EMG, and a photography suite. And we also use EEG with a collaborator up in Washington. Our principal investigator is Dr. Amanda Hahn, and she really loves babies. So she's done a lot of work looking at the reward value of baby faces and aspects of parental caretaking behavior. So she helped us choose the topic for our project this semester, which is going to be looking at cuteness aggression, which is basically that feeling when you look at a baby or a puppy or something, anything cute, and you want to squeeze it and bite it and pinch it. And we are actively recruiting, but we only recruit at the beginning of each semester, so if you're interested, you should get in soon. We meet on Wednesdays at 12 to 1. And so if you're interested, you can come talk to me, or you can find our lab website by just Googling BERL Lab Humboldt, and that website should come up. So thank you.
Fantastic, thank you so much, Nathan. And last but not least, we have representatives from the Cultural Diversity and Adolescent Development Lab, aka CDAD Lab, and that is represented by Francesca Messina and Bernardo Sosa.
I can stand back like this.
Well, everybody's moving forward too. So
Should we?
I mean, you're still in the frame there. Yeah, you're fine now. Everybody's keeping moving forward though. It started at the back of the room.
Again, I'm not insecure about my head.
That's why it's good. Hi everyone. We are.
Oh, we're doing this.
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, my name is Bernardo Sosa Rosales.
I'm Francesca Messina.
We're the co-lab managers for Culture, Diversity, and Adolescent Development Lab. Our principal investigator is Dr. Maria Iturbide. Let's see. I think we are actively recruiting.
We
for
are.
This.
We're actively. I think we are. Just come say hi, even if we're not.
So our research tends to focus on adolescent development and their well-being. We specialize in culture, including but not limited to ethnic identity development, ethnic racial minority stressors, acculturation, and how that affects their adult risk behavior and their positive well-being. As a lab, we tend to focus on quantitative, qualitative, and mixed methods research.
We love mixed methods. That's one thing. Yeah, Bernie kind of covered it. We also look at acculturative stress, cultural identity. I think you might have said that. Right now we have a few projects in the works, but they're like super in their infancy. One of them is like the budding usage of like newer pronouns and how that's affecting people's perceptions and development, stuff like that. We have another secret project. It's not really secret, but it's just pretty new, so we don't know exactly what direction it's going, but you should come check us out. We don't know when we're meeting this semester yet, but
Right now it's looking like at Tuesdays 10 a.m. but
Tuesdays 10 a.m. probably.
We're pretty flexible. Come by, talk to Maria about it.
Yeah.
We're not like hard-looking people. We're pretty softies. Pretty
Yeah.
sensitive. But yeah, if anyone has any questions, please come to me or either Francesca. We'd love to have you guys talk.
We're BSS 413, so just knock on the door. It's a little room, but we'll let you in.
To make it even more convenient, I'll be right there.
Yeah, we'll also be right here. Yeah.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Now, before everybody gets up and wants to go talk to all labs, I know we have two representatives here who have other outside announcements. Just show of hands, does any other labs have any outside announcements that aren't directly related to lab but are related to something similar? Okay, perfect. So let's go first with Maddie, Joe, and Grace.
Alrighty, so I'm also in the social influence lab with Grace and Dr. gold. But outside of that, we are working on some projects in regard to the cannabis industry. Currently, there is the Cannabis Entrepreneurs Project, which is going to be coming to a close here in July of this year. But we are looking for one other research assistant for this paid opportunity. So this is essentially a 2-year statewide project which provides licensing agencies, local governments, and business development organizations, along with the cannabis industry as a whole and consumers, with the tools to evaluate, enhance, and promote legal, safe, and equitable innovation within the industry. We are also going to be beginning a few other projects this year. We've applied for some grants all through the Department of California Cannabis Control. So essentially, there's going to be one also looking at the hemp industry, which is pretty similar to this Cannabis Entrepreneurs Project, but instead of cannabis, it's more focused on hemp. There is also going to be a 2-year project evaluating the condition and health of the California cannabis industry through the use of a longitudinal survey data of cannabis business license holders, which will include an increase in retail cannabis sales and activity within the illicit market. And then lastly, before I hand it over to Grace, there's also the Market Power Evidence and Policy Recommendations for California Legal Cannabis Project, which is going to identify market power in the legal California cannabis market and suggest policy changes to promote competition. So these are all paid positions too, by the way.
And the last paid position related to the cannabis industry is about the medical use of cannabis. So they're looking at how medical cannabis users use it, the extent to their use, how they're impacted by the industry itself, and if it is effective or not, and comparing that to other forms of medical treatments. And so overall, this research is a great opportunity, one, not only to gain skills in research, but to get paid while you're doing it as well. And I think we can both speak from experience. Starting out doing research can be really intimidating, but once you take the first couple steps, it becomes a lot easier and you learn a lot along the way. So if you're interested, reach out to us.
Yeah, we'll be over at that.
I just wanted to let y'all know that we have a club on campus. It's called Adaptable, and it's a club for students with disabilities and their allies. So if you or someone you know needs a sense of community on campus, or just like a cool low commitment club to join for your CV, we're here for it, and we would love more members. And so you can find us on the clubs page under Adaptable, or at any tabling event, and just look for like the rainbow umbrellas and myself or Andrew. And so yeah, if you guys want to join that, please let us know, and we'd love to have you.
So first off, let's get a huge round of applause for all the lab people. All right, and I think that's it. Also, our first side talk will be sometime in March, so keep an eye out for that. Thank you all for attending, and feel free to go mingle.